Welcome back to The Explainer. Last time we talked about how a VPN gets detected. But honestly, spotting that someone is using a VPN is kind of child's play. The real puzzle, the one we're diving into today, is how someone actually cracks that encrypted wall and figures out exactly who you are behind it.
So, let's get right into it. How do they find out who you really are? In the world of digital forensics, we call this process de-anonymization.
De-anonymization basically means bridging the gap between your real identity and what you actually did online. And I've got to tell you, this is way harder than just detecting a VPN. Why? Because nowhere in the entire network system do both pieces of that information exist in the same place. It's completely fragmented. And, that's not a glitch. That separation is literally the entire point of using a VPN. It perfectly sets up this classic two-box challenge. Think about it. Your ISP knows exactly who you are. I mean, they send you the bill, right? But because of that encrypted tunnel, they're blind to what you're actually doing. Meanwhile, the destination website sees exactly what you're doing, downloading files, reading articles, but they have absolutely no clue who you are. So for an adversary to unmask you, they essentially have to build a bridge between those two boxes. They have to piece together scattered evidence. So how do they do it? Well, let's break down the 5 real methods used to bridge that gap.
Method 1. Provider log correlation.
This is the most direct route possible. It's basically a frontal assault on the VPN provider's server logs. If an adversary gets their hands on those logs, maybe through a binding legal order, a server hack, or just because a shady provider was secretly logging data, boom, they get a direct mapping. Your real IP address is tied straight to the exact website you visited at that exact second. Game over. And this right here, this is exactly why you hear so much about no-logs policies and independent audits. The whole industry is obsessed with them because they're trying to shut down this incredibly lethal backdoor.
Method 2. Traffic correlation. Some folks call this timing analysis, and it's a bit more advanced. Imagine you're looking at 2 synchronized waveforms. An adversary doesn't actually need to break your encryption at all if they can just watch traffic going into the VPN and simultaneously watch it coming out the other side. It's like, okay, step 1, they observe a highly specific burst of, say, 50 packets entering the tunnel. Step 2, a fraction of a second later, they observe a matching burst of 50 packets leaving the tunnel heading to a specific destination. Match those patterns enough times, and you've got a definitive link, straight through the encryption. This is exactly why multi-hop systems like Tor are so critical, and why your standard single-hop commercial VPN is structurally pretty vulnerable to this kind of attack.
Moving on to Method 3. Application layer leaks. Now, we're zooming out from the network level to the application level. And honestly, this matters the most because it is so incredibly easy to mess up. You could be running a military-grade, technically flawless VPN tunnel, and your own browser will just hand over your identity anyway. There are 4 main culprits here. First, browser fingerprinting. Your screen resolution, your fonts, how your browser renders graphics, it all creates a unique fingerprint that tracks you, completely ignoring your hidden IP address. Second, cookies and active logins. I mean, if you turn on your VPN but leave your personal Gmail or Facebook logged in, you've just outed yourself. Third, WebRTC leaks. These are sneaky browser APIs that can leak your real IP directly to a website, totally bypassing the VPN. And fourth, DNS leaks. If your DNS requests slip outside the tunnel, anyone watching knows your real ISP and general location. The crazy thing, none of these require breaking any encryption. They're just leaks around the VPN, not through it.
Method 4. Behavioral and pattern analysis.
This one is fascinating because it doesn't touch the network, the code, or your hardware at all. It's all about you. Behavioral analysis, or stylometry, tracks your human habits. Think about it. What time of day do you usually log in? How long do you stay online? Do you have a super distinct writing style on forums? Maybe you use a specific quirky vocabulary, or you always double space after periods. Those human quirks can identify you across totally different sessions, VPN or no VPN. Remember, a VPN protects your network layer. It was absolutely never designed to disguise how you behave once you're on the web.
And finally, Method 5. Endpoint compromise.
This one skips the whole network puzzle and goes straight for the jugular, the physical machine you're actually typing on. If your laptop or phone gets hit with malware, a zero-day exploit, or someone just physically tampers with it, your VPN becomes completely irrelevant. The adversary is reading your keystrokes and watching your screen before anything even gets encrypted. We love geeking out over complex cryptography, but if we're being honest, endpoint compromise is exactly how a lot of high-profile law enforcement cases are actually cracked in the real world.
All right,
Let's pull back for a second and compare the detection we covered in our last explainer with the de-anonymization we've mapped out today.
It helps to see them side by side. Detection is just asking a really simple question. Hey, is a VPN being used? You only need one single observation point to figure that out. But de-anonymization? That's asking the big, dangerous question. Who is the actual human sitting at that keyboard? And to answer that, you need multiple points of observation, a cooperating provider, or a careless slip-up at the app layer. Because the threats are so totally different, fixing them requires totally different approaches. As you can see, detection is usually beaten by obfuscation. You're just scrambling the shape of the traffic so it doesn't look like a VPN. But de-anonymization? Oh man, there is no silver bullet. To stop that, you need ironclad app layer hygiene to stop leaks, a provider you can actually trust your life with, and a network architecture that resists correlation attacks, all working perfectly, all at the exact same time.
Now, everything we've mapped out today is pretty standard digital forensics. It's how researchers hunt vulnerabilities and how journalists protect their sources. But it leaves us hanging on a massive, provocative question. If timing attacks and simple browser leaks are really this powerful, how does a system like Tor actually fight back against traffic correlation? And what does bulletproof, paranoid-level VPN hygiene really look like in the real world? Well, if you want to dive into that rabbit hole, let me know, and we'll tackle it in the next explainer. Thanks for joining me today.